Hi guys, welcome back. So today I thought I'd do a video called Spilling the Tea. I've seen so many YouTubers do this and I've never really done, I don't really do Q&As or stuff like that. So I thought whilst we're in quarantine, it can be a bit of time where we get to know each other. So I thought I would do a Spilling the Tea video. So I've got my big cup of tea. It's like the size of my head, which is, you know when you go to a restaurant, you have them little teacups? I am just not about that. I need a big mug. I also have very weak tea. Don't judge. Right. So for those of you that don't know, Spilling the Tea is, I asked you guys on Instagram stories to ask me questions that you'd never ask or assumptions that you've made about me so I can clarify them, and it's just gonna get juicy. So all the things that you probably wouldn't have known about me, I'm about to tell you. They went from really vanilla to very, very X-rated very quickly. So, okay, I am going to delve in. Do you have a friend with benefits to call to come over whenever you're in the mood? No. I have never had a friend with benefits. I tend not to let men into my life unless they're gonna really protect my mental headspace. Let's just put it that way. I don't like to get involved because I'm one of them people that cannot have a small connection with someone, and I don't like to get involved with someone if I know they're gonna end up being a dick. So friends with benefits does not work for me because I know I cannot be in that place with someone without getting my heart broken. So I don't do it. Do you have a boy? These are all lots of boy stuff here. Do you have a boyfriend? No, I do not. So the weird thing is, I always had a boyfriend, like ever since I was went through puberty. I had boyfriends since I was like 14. I was very much a serial boyfriender, if you know what I mean, one of those people. And then I kind of stopped having boyfriends maybe when I was in my late 20s because, so you might have known when I first started YouTube, I had a boyfriend, and then after that I've been dating, I have been seeing a couple of guys, not all at the same time, but there has been kind of relationships there, but not boyfriend. They've always dwindled out before that stage. But I made a point not to be a boyfriend girl for a while because one of my relationships I felt made me so far removed from who I was that I'd lost sight of who I was, and I finally came to understand as I grew up how much being with, when I say the wrong person, I don't mean they're bad or anything like that. I just think wrong for me, like when your personalities really are counterparts. I realized how much being with the wrong type of person can really remove you from yourself, and I felt I couldn't remember who I was. So I spent the last years of my 20s and up until, I feel like I'm really good now, but like I really had to refine myself and rebuild my confidence, and I just enjoy being by myself. I know that sounds crazy. Does it sound crazy? I am the best version of myself when I'm single, and until I meet someone that elevates me rather than brings me down, I'm just more than happy to be single. And I think it's because I'm lucky enough to do the one thing I truly absolutely love and could do all day every day. Like, I love my life so much that I actually don't crave the attention of a guy in my life. So until he comes along on his white horse, I'm fine. So no, I don't have a boyfriend. He can pop along sometime soon, but I've learned through having many relationships, like I have a long list of ex-boyfriends, that A, I don't need them, and B, I really need one that won't drag me down. This is an assumption, so someone has assumed that I am intelligent, kind and caring with a high EQ. I think they were going for IQ there. is it IQ? Sums it up really. I've never taken an IQ test, so I don't really know. My general knowledge sucked. Never asked me to be on your team in a quiz. Like, me and my family have been doing them every week, and the only answer that I've known so far is, who does Chapette the cat belong to? And I was like, it's Carl Lagerfeld. Ask me what countries are or anything like that. Not a clue, not a clue. But fashion, I know. Carl Lagerfeld had a cat called Chapette. What? How did I know that? It's because he has it in the picture. However, saying that, I got straight A's and A stars. I think mostly A stars for my GCSEs. And then I got B's for language. Je parle un petit peu de français. That's all I know. So I tried really hard for my GCSEs. I think I revised like the month before my GCSEs and managed to get A's and A stars. So I think naturally at school I never found it difficult. I was always like, I took the 11 plus to get into a grammar school. Like, I've always been quite smart. My A levels, I think are really, because I went on to go to, I came to this point in my life where I really rebelled against the education system. I didn't believe in getting an education. That sounds really bad. Like, I had no interest in going down a university route. So when it came to my A levels, I didn't even revise for them. I got 97% and an A for my art, and I did, for my A level art, I did a runway show, obviously. It's where my love of fashion began. I really researched into Vivienne Westwood, etc. And I created, like, I think when you're in art A level, you get given like a word, like nature or anything like that, like really random things to paint. I decided to make like humans, like sculptures of clothes, and just, I got really hands-on with creating fashion lines at such a young age. And like, looking back now, I really should have gone down that route, like straight off the bat, but I didn't. I really struggled to, I always believed that, like, my core value in life is to do what you love and be with the people you love. Like, money, success, like materialistic things, they've never been my core drive in life. Like, I want to lie on my deathbed and be like, integrity, like have such, like, I think integrity is key in life, because I want to be proud of myself in a way of not measured in success, but measured in the amount of love that I've had during my life. Like, whether it's doing things that I love or being with friends that I love. Like, I had that from such a young age that I really found it hard to go down the education route. You're an intelligent, kind, caring person. I like to think I'm kind. I do try and be kind. Like, I think it's a Pisces trait. I generally would help anybody that asked. I always hope for the best in people. I don't have a single jealous streak in my body, and I'm not just saying that. I actually cannot relate to jealousy. Like, it just doesn't sit in me. If I see someone else doing well, I'm so happy for them. Like, really, honestly, genuinely happy for them. And I think I learnt that from a young age, because I went to an all-girls school, and when it hit about 15, 16, I had an amazing group of friends around me. Like, I had two best friends, and we were called the triplets, and we were inseparable. And Katie and Joe, shout out, we're still really good friends now. They're like family to me. So, like, I had such an amazing support core in my high school, but actually the girl environment, I was really, I don't want to say bullied, but I feel like if I was, people looking from the outside would have been, they tried to bully me. Like, they really, really did. I had Ribena poured on my head one time because someone's boyfriend fancied me or something. I don't know, it just got really silly. So I decided at 16 to take myself out of the girls' school and pop me in a boys' school to do my A levels, and it was the best time. And I have tried to be kind my whole life, because I know how tough it can be to be on the receiving end of nastiness. And I remember when I first moved to London when I was 21, and I moved into a hostel, and it was kind of like student halls, but for people that had graduated. It was really weird. It was called High Elm in London. you may have heard of it. It's actually been knocked down now, but like 500 people lived there, and every time a new person came in through the door, I'd always take them under my wing, because I really hate anyone to feel that isolation. Like, I would look after people that got bullied all the time. Like, it was just my like, because I'd experienced how the bullying could be, and I was tough enough to not let it affect me, but I knew how it felt, so I was very aware of like that. I think that's where my I think that's where my mindset of being kind has come from. Have you ever been in love? No. I have never been in love, guys. And I always say, like, if I died tomorrow, I'd have 0 regrets in life. This is gonna make me cry. I'd have 0 regrets in life except never falling in love. And I think my past relationships, like the ones in my really early 20s and my teen years, I was far too young. No one ever said they loved me either. Yeah, my biggest regret in life would be never to experience falling in love. That's really sad, isn't it? I'm gonna cry. Yeah, let's move on quickly from that. It's not over yet though. It's still got a chance. I can't work out where your accent is from. The most googled thing, I think what used to be, was Laura Blair accent. When you type in Laura Blair, you can see like what people Google about you. My accent, there's actually a hate forum on Google all about my accent. Apparently I'm pretending. But I think where I come from has its very own, very unique accent, and not many people have heard of where I'm originally from. I'm from the Wirral, and when you hear someone with this accent, I'm like, you're from the Wirral. I can pinpoint it so easily. I'm trying to think of any famous people who have a very Wirral accent. There's a chef who's sometimes on, I think it's GMTV, he's called Paul Hollywood. He has a line of bread. His accent is so Wirral, and it's kind of got the same twang as mine. And the Wirral is between Wales and Liverpool, and I think although most of Wirral people are slightly more Scouse, I do think it has like the music of a Welsh person, but with the Scouse twang, if that makes sense. So I could do both accents really easily. If I date so many boy questions, you naughty lot. If you date someone, will you show them? So a few people I have dated have sneakily sometimes appeared on my Insta stories, and not so much my vlog. So I actually date quite a lot of people. A lot of the internet believe that me and Georgia are lesbians. I can officially tell you that we most definitely aren't lesbians. Funny question though, my mum actually seriously asked me if I was a lesbian when I was about 14, because it runs in my family. We have a lot of gay people, always have been through the centuries. If you look back, it's really quite, I don't know, really random. But my mum very seriously asked me when I was about 14 if I was a lesbian, and I was at that stage where I hadn't really thought about boys or girls, and I was like, am I? But I can safely say I like men. But yeah, I have dated people and popped them on my Insta stories, but I wouldn't like actively really show someone unless it was like really quite serious, because you guys will congratulate me on my marriage before I've even like got to first base with a guy. And also I think it's not, I don't know, I feel like I have to, there's some people out there that really love this environment, so I want to be sure that someone is dating me for the right reasons before I plaster them all over my channels. But no one's made it that far, not even close. We have about a 2-month like cut off at the moment, and then it just all goes wrong. Some of them don't even make it past the second date. I got very ruthless in my old age. First disrespect and they are gone. And having that, literally means they don't last very long. Like, I'm not even joking. Like, if they disrespect me and don't have a valid answer, and I mean like a really valid answer, in fact no, I don't even expect an answer, if they disrespect me, they're gone. I remember one guy recently, he basically cheated. I would say cheat, like we weren't boyfriend, but he got with someone else and he was surprised, and I was like, you do know it's over now. But we hadn't talked about it. Oh yeah, I want like the person that I want to be with to do like have you studied anything? So I was actually gonna do like photos through my life. I know people do drawing through their life, because I've really not had the most normal life. Like, I maybe sit on here and it looks all normal, like I grew up in a... Honestly, my life has been batshit crazy for the past 15 years. It's really not very normal. So I thought I'd maybe, because I think a lot of people take a very generic path in life, and I believe me, to get to the point where I am now, it's not been very generic at all. So I studied, when I was 18 and I was at school and I had to make a decision of where I wanted to go and what I wanted to do, I just never knew what I wanted to do. People are so lucky if they can figure that out young. I just really had no idea. I grew up as like a stage child, so I was dancing by the age of 4. I did shows all over England. I grew up in theatre. Like, I was always Cinderella in pantomime and Sleeping Beauty in my local, in the Wirral where I came from. So theatre was in my blood. When I finished school, I got a place at London College of Fashion to study fashion. I got a scholarship, I think. I turned it down and I went to study theatre at a theatre school. I also got a scholarship there, and neither is what I wanted to do. I didn't want to do either, but the theatre school was in Liverpool. I could still stay at home. I didn't have to move down to London for it when it wasn't something that I really wanted to do. So I just went to theatre and I thought, I'll do this for a year, and surely by next year I'll figure out and go to university and like know what I wanted to do. A year went by, still had no idea. Another year went by, no idea, and I finished the theatre school. And I couldn't figure out what, like, not, and I'm such a hard worker. Like, when I get my teeth into something, like, I will literally ace it. Like, I've told you, I think I got full marks in so many of my exams, like GCSE maths, I think I got full marks in, and my A-levels, my art, I got full marks in. Like, when I love something, I'm that crazy person that loves maths. Crazy. I just didn't know what I loved, so I didn't want to do anything. It didn't make sense for me to waste a load of money going down a route that I'd change my mind about later. So I studied musical theatre. I did dancing, singing and acting. I am absolutely tone deaf, and I had to stand up and sing in front of the school every week, and it really taught me. Can you imagine being tone deaf and doing a solo song each week in front of maybe 40 people? I was like, it taught me in life to never be afraid to look a fool. I really had to dig deep and sing out of tune and just deal with it. And honestly, that theatre school was brutal. I think they should be, theatre schools are awful. Everyone had weight issues. They used to weigh us every Monday. They used to measure our fat with a pincher. And actually, ironically, I was the slimmest person with the most fat. But every Monday, weighing scales out, they told us all to lose weight, then they told us to put on weight if we got too skinny, and then they made me sing tone deaf in front of everyone when I couldn't even sing. Honestly, I came out of that theatre school like, I was like, I don't even know what happened. So I packed my bags, went to London, and I was just like, I'll find myself in London. I didn't find myself in London. I managed to work in Harrods. I got a job in Harrods, temping staff, so I just do all on the different counters. And then I started working in nightclubs because it paid better, and all I had to do was put makeup on and stand there and not do anything. And I worked in Mayfair, and that showed me a really weird side of life. Like, the richest, most famous people in the world, I think I've sat next to like the likes of Madonna, Leonardo DiCaprio. I had, like, my job was to sit and talk to these people and to make the club look full. And it was the weirdest thing. I've literally met every celebrity under the sun, and just, it was like a circus. You know when those movie clips where it like starts off all nice and it goes it starts to go like really weird. So that was like my early 20s, and then I took the dancing abroad and I worked in Cannes, you know, the red steps up to the where they do the red carpet. I worked in that building as a backing dancer, and like celebs used to come on, like 50 Cent. Who else did we have? Like Paris. Like, it was just a place where celebs came and performed, and I'd stand there looking, jazzing my hands like this at the side. I think I was motorboated by Paris Hilton one time. I think I have a picture of her. And then I travelled to Beirut and did it in Beirut, and everyone, whenever I mention this, people are like, where the hell is Beirut? It's next to Syria, but honestly, most amazing country I've ever been to. And whilst I was in Beirut, not knowing still what to do with my life, I think I was 23 or 24, I decided to go back to university and study fashion management and marketing. I was really stuck on whether to be a banker wanker with me maths or go down the fashion route with me art. Those were my two loves in life, and I couldn't figure out which one to go for. So I thought I'd combine them both and do management and marketing and fashion. So it's still arty, but kind of business. And I studied that for 3 years at UCA Epsom. And although I graduated and never needed my degree in my whole entire life, like, I started working for myself pretty much straight away, if I compared the work at the start of it to the work at the end, it looked like a child had done it at the beginning bit, and then it looked like a masterpiece at the end. So I can see how much I learned, but I don't know if I went back in time that I would do it. I think I'd just go straight into an industry and work my way up. So yeah, I've studied, but I did a really bad job at sorting it out. So I was really late to go into a normal job, and I went into a normal job at 27. I lasted 4 months and thought, I can't work for anybody else because people can't tell me what to do. I find it really hard when someone tells me what to do when I think it's the wrong thing. Gets me into a lot of trouble. I say it really nicely, but there's nothing worse than a really arrogant male boss that tells you to do stuff and you're like, that's gonna get you into a lot of trouble. Like, they don't know. I hate being told what to do. Probably why I'm single. Was your ex-boyfriend rich? Hope I'm not rude, I just think he was. Much to my mother's dismay, I have never dated. Well, dating's different. A boyfriend has never been, I've never dated a rich man. However, they all seem to get rich after they've dated me. Very disappointing. But I have never been one to go for a wealthy man, because I remember very firmly, I remember when I was a dancer, I remember asking the girls, I was like, what are you gonna do when, like, you can't dance anymore? Because it had a shelf life, you know? You can't be 30 odd, I don't think, and being a leotard dancing on a stage. You can, but 30, 40, 50, like, it's got no longevity. Like, it does have a cap on it. So I was just very realistically being like, what do you want to do when this is over? And I remember very vividly, all the girls said to me, oh, just marry a rich man. And I remember thinking, that's putting a lot of faith in the male species. And in experience, I don't have the... I ain't gonna rely on any man for my future. So I was like, I need to go sort... I was like, I'm gonna work my ass off so I never have to rely on a man. And I am so thankful for that, because honey, if I want a handbag, I go buy it. If I want a bigger place, I'm just about to go get it. Like, I don't have to ask a man for anything. I don't have to wait for a man to marry me to make my future. I have 100% paved out a future for myself. And I think that is just hands down the biggest achievement of my whole entire life. Like, they may be sitting there with their Chanel handbags that their sugar daddy has bought them, but actually my handbags that I bought myself mean more to me because of what they mean to me than anything else. So no, I haven't had a rich man. How old am I? I am 30 fucking 2 years young. A lot of people always ask me like, am I too old to start YouTube? I'm like, no. Most of my audience they're all pretty much 30 plus, but there's a really 30 to 40 is like the strongest group, but the 40s to 60s, they're going strong. Hello ladies, I love you guys. But there's so many mature women and men on YouTube wanting to inspiration, so you're never too old. You're never too old to start again. One of my biggest mottos in life, like if you're going down a path that you really don't like, if you're stuck in a job you hate or a relationship that's not making you happy, you are never too old to restart all over again. Always have the balls to do it if you're not happy. How often do you exercise? I've not worked out for the past 6 weeks for obvious reasons, but I pretty much exercise every day, and some people think that's probably, it probably is excessive, no doubt about it. But I grew up I did ballet since the age of 4. I was pretty much dancing, doing a dance class every single night, all the way through my school years, like from primary school up until 18, and then I went to theatre school. On top of that, so every night of the week after school, I danced except Thursdays, which I ran. So I ran for the Wirral, and then I ran for Merseyside, and that was Thursdays. But on top of that, I also ran most days as well as doing the dance classes. And I just had this pure love for sport ever since I was little, like adrenaline sport. Like there's nothing better than running. Like where I live as well in the Wirral, it's like cliff tops, it's sands, it's sea. There's nothing better than running over the hills with the wind in your hair, with music on. Oh my God, it was just, if ever I was having a bad day or feeling glum, like it was an addiction. Healthy addiction, I think, but because I did it so much, I got to the English, I think it was the British, I can't remember this. I got to the British qualifying championships where they qualified to see who runs for Britain. It was in Birmingham when I was like, I can't remember, 17 or something. And I fractured my foot in 2 places. I had stress fractures developing in my foot from pure running. I didn't even have an accident. I was just running too much. So on one bone in my foot, and that's because I had an accident when I was younger, that my left leg is slightly weak. So yeah, after that I couldn't really run as much, and then I finally stopped running maybe 5 years ago because in the same leg I got a knee injury, so it kind of had like a counteraction. But I now bike every day instead. But I do work out a lot. So this is an assumption about me. Despite all your fancy outfits and photos, you are not comfortable in your skin. PS, love you. So it wasn't like a bad comment, just a curious one. So I would say right now, this stage in my life, I am 100% comfortable in my own skin, with makeup, without makeup, whatever size I am. I came to very much stop caring about what I look like. I do all this because I love the creativity behind it. I do what I do not to look good, but I love the fabrics, I love the arty side of it, I love the photos and the color. I'm very artistic, so that's why I do what I do. However, in my early 20s, I wouldn't go out without makeup on. I didn't feel comfortable in my own skin, partly because the theatre school made me feel that way. They were so body conscious, whether it was too fat, too thin, they couldn't make their minds up. And it was like such a young age, it put so much pressure on all of us that went to that school, and I reckon anyone that did would say exactly the same thing. And then going into an industry where I was judged on what you looked like. Even Harrods, you had to look a certain way to work there, and if you didn't look good enough when you came to work in the morning, there was a lady that judged us. She even cut my hair one time because it wasn't straight enough. Like, there's always been so much pressure on what I looked like in my 20s, whereas since doing what I do now, no one's giving me a job, no one's saying yes, you have to look this way to get this job. Like YouTube and seeing what I look like every day, I've just become, you'd think that it would have the alternative effect. Like, you'd think taking pictures of yourself all the time, editing your face for 12 hours solid would have a negative effect on you and make you self-conscious, but it actually has made me the opposite. Like, I'm so used to what I look like now that it doesn't surprise me. And I know that you can take a horrific picture and you can take one that you look like a goddess and you're like, I don't look like either of these, but like, I never judge myself on what I look like in pictures anymore. I just stop. I don't know, I wish I could, anyone that's struggling in this, I wish I could just be like, feel it, but like, it is almost, it sets you free when you stop caring and just really love what you look like and realize that there's nobody else like you. And yeah, I wish I could tell my younger, there's probably things that we can all tell our younger self that we really wish we could go back in time and say. But yeah, I would say I am comfortable in my own skin. And yeah, I think it took a long time to get here because I had really bad acne as well. I've talked about it on my channel and it destroyed my confidence. And actually, I had cystic acne all along my chin. You can sometimes see the dimpling on my chin. It's not too great. But I used to think because of my how I'd gone through life, that a lot of stuff that I'd got was because of how I looked, like looking a certain way. And when I got my acne, I felt like a monster. I cannot express to you that I felt disgusting. And I remember my mum saying to me once, oh, go out, you know, you're you. And I was like, this is not me. Like, I cannot remember me anymore. Like, I just felt so far removed from myself because this horrible, disgusting thing was all over my face. And I think it's hard unless you've had cystic severe acne to relate to that. I mean, like, I had big, huge blisters all over my face. And I stopped going out. I stopped even going to the gym one time because I didn't even want to go to the gym without any makeup on. Like, I just didn't want to see a soul. I remember going out in the midst of summer with a scarf around my face because I was so insecure about it. And this wasn't that long ago. I was like 29, I think, when I had cystic acne. And then I started getting things, like I booked a TV show in America and they flew me to LA and I was like, I'm not gonna get this. They're gonna take one look at my skin and be like, oh no, this can't go on the telly. I didn't even really want to do the show. I just wanted to go to the free trip to LA, and then I generally thought I had no chance in hell of getting it. And then I went on the show and I did this TV show on primetime America with horrific acne. I was filmed 24/7 and I didn't want to do it. And I was like, feel the fear and do it anyway. And it seems so crazy. Like, I just thought I couldn't give up this opportunity. I'd been given it on a plate. I hadn't gone for it. It's airing in Canada, by the way. Right now, random. You can go Google what it is. I've never mentioned it on my YouTube channel before. I like to just slide past it. But I did it and I hated the whole experience, but I'm so happy that I did it because it made me realize that I'd got places on my personality and not my skin and not what I looked like. So from that day forwards, whatever I looked like, I knew that my personality outshines what I look like. So not to rely on what I look like, but rely on my personality. And honestly, I guess it's what you learn as you go through life, but I really wish I could go tell my younger self that. An assumption: you're beautiful and strong and an inspiration. Thanks. I can't answer the two of them, but for sure, I know for sure I'm so fucking strong. Like, and I thank my parents so much for that, because I was very much brought up on a very tough love environment. My dad in particular, who used to say to me all the time, when the going gets tough, the tough gets going. And like, whenever I was sad or down, he'd be like, come on, stand up, you're a Blair. And I remember when I used to run, and at the end I used to collapse on the floor and be like like dying, very dramatic, you know, because it bloody hurts when you run long distance. And he used to say to me, get up and stand up and breathe, because actually collapsing on the floor was worse than standing up calmly and breathing and it really is something that I took throughout life. So if you're in a bad position, don't collapse on the floor and cry about it. Stand up, breathe, and like, you'll deal with it better. So I've always kind of had that mentality, whatever's thrown at me, it's like, it can always get better. Like, just deal with it. Are you weak or are you tough? Be tough. And it's like, at the lowest moments in my life, I've like gone into like, you know when your hard drive on your computer goes like zzzz, whenever shit is thrown at me, or I'm in such a bad place, which it happens, I just don't show you. Actually not so much since things have been fabulous since YouTube, but previously in the past 10 years I've had the lowest points in my life that I can't even begin to explain. Like, if you ever feel broken, I've been there. I've been in horrible places where it's been so dark, and I remember times where I just didn't want to open my bedroom window, and my little dog would come along and like lick my hand, bless him. And I kind of go into like the hard drive, and I'm like frantically try and get myself out of it. Like, I don't slump. Like, if I hit bottom, I work my ass off to get back up. I just think that's so important. Like, if you ever feel down or feel low, just work your ass off to get back up, because boy, if you work, it goes really good again. Tell us your worst experience with a guy. I got too many to sit here and talk about it. I would say, like, I've had such, one way of looking at it, I've been very blessed with the men that I've had in my past. Like, I could say such amazing things about them all, but equally I think I've picked really badly at the same time, just because I don't think they were right for me. I think I had a habit when I was younger to, like, when I was heartbroken, I'd like just stick on a band-aid and date the next one. It really helped, but then I was never picking the right one for me. I was just picking the next one that came along. I hope none of my ex-boyfriends watch this and think I'm talking about you, because there's some of them that were, they've all been great guys, and some of them I'm really good friends with now. But I think personality-wise, I'm really fiery, but also really chilled at the same time. So I think men don't really know how to handle me. Quote me if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. I don't know. I mean, the worst experience when it comes to a guy was when I went out with a guy for 2.5 years, and then he didn't even bother to dump me or talk to me again. And then he just got himself a new girlfriend without telling me, and where I actually begged him to talk to me, and just for closure, because I needed the closure. Like, it was a very weird situation. I just needed something. It was like all dignity went out the window, and I begged for closure, just like you're dumped. I didn't get it, and that was honestly the worst thing a guy has ever done to me. Yeah, so I had to watch it all over social media of him and his brand new girlfriend. I think the girl was lovely, we've talked. And I also think he was in a very bad place, we talked. So I have no hard feelings, but at the time, that was horrific. Honestly, it was like someone had died suddenly, and I just had to pick myself back up, and I don't know. I mean, it baffles me, because if we'd had a chat, I would probably have been fine with it, because, you know, it was like at that stage anyway, but it was just the weirdest thing. Yeah, that was a tough one. An assumption, I go on dates a lot. I don't know what a lot of dates is. No, I don't think I do. I like to, I don't think I do. I go on several dates. I probably go on a date a month with someone new. There was a period where I just didn't date whatsoever after the last thing I just mentioned happened. I just didn't want to date. And then I got to a point where I was being so picky that I wasn't giving anyone a chance. So the past year, I've just said yes when people, I tend to say yes more, not to everyone, but like I said, tend to say yes more to dates, even when I don't know what to think about it, just to see. And actually I've been pleasantly surprised by people that I would have said no to. Yeah, I've kissed a lot of frogs. But there is one thing I've learned. I think you can tell very clearly how someone will treat you in a relationship from a first date. Guys, lots of you have just sending me compliments here. It wasn't the aim of the game, but thanks so much. Your zodiac sign, I'm a Pisces. I am such a Pisces down to a T that it scares me because I don't really believe in that stuff. And then I'm like, but that's so true. Pisces are very much renowned for being dropped in any situation because they have essences of all the star signs. They can pretty much slot themselves into every situation, which is why now during this time it doesn't really bother me. Like, you can literally pick me up and pop me anywhere and I will totally be chill in any situation. Pisces imagine, dream, believe, and are really helpful to people. They like to help people. So there's a lot of Pisces traits that's like so spot on for me, I think. So I think I might believe in it. I don't know. Do you model? Absolutely not. I hate modeling. I've done, at the start of my YouTube career, let's say, I did a couple of jobs where it was there's kind of like a line, I know, not so much anymore I don't think, but definitely at the beginning there was a lot of times where they wanted us to model. I ain't no model. I am such a control freak when it comes to what I look like styling wise, that I was sat there in a pink fluffy bobble hat, pink pom-pom scarf. There was pink pom-poms everywhere and I couldn't hack it, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. And then they took my makeup off that I'd beautifully put on and they put on some bad makeup and bad hair, and I was just like, I can't do this. I don't want to look like this. I want to look like me. So I hit a nail on that head a long time ago. Assumption, you were a professional ballerina. I've got lots of ballet stuff floating around. I did ballet for 21 years and then I did it for 3 years at stage school solidly, and I did it with the third years all the way through. So I was always like, ballet was just something and I really appreciate ballet for like how I hold myself. Like, I feel like it's given me such strong posture, but I've never used it. So like, I finished growing up and I was like, I don't want to do ballet. I actually really didn't like it. It was just something my sister loved, and then I loved to be my sister. My sister is wonderful, no wonder. I'm not a typical woman who likes to get married by 28, have children by 30, you dream big. Well, I'm 32, so we can safely say that I'm not a type of person that wants children at 28. That ship's definitely sailed. I get asked about the children thing quite a lot, mostly by me bloody mother. So glad my sister's had a baby. I can stop that now. She's done all the hard work. If I was in love, I'd love a baby. If I never fall in love, I could quite happily do without it. I can take it or leave it. Typical Pisces, pop me in any situation. But saying that, I don't know how I would feel in 50 years time. 50 years time, I don't know how I've got to be 100. Oh no, 80. Maths. IQ. I don't know how I'd feel later on in life if I never had them. So I'm at that stage now where I'm like, do I really go for this? Because I'm going to really regret it in later life. However, if women didn't have a biological clock, I'd probably be in no mind space to have them right now. So it's a bit annoying, really. Ideally, if life was wonderful, I'd have them in my very late 30s. But you get to that stage and is it like, oh, I don't know if I can have them or not. So I don't know, it's a weird one, but I'm sure if I fell in love tomorrow, I'd want his babies all day long, and I'd want a lot of them. So I can take it or leave it. But if someone told me that I couldn't have children, I'd probably just try and see the positive out of it and just know that I'd always have shoes, a lot of them. An assumption, you're obsessed with your weight and being as skinny as possible. I actually really despise the word skinny, and I think a lot of skinny people feel this way. I'm naturally slim. I like the word slim. I feel when people have told me I'm skinny, it's in a very patronizing way or like a negative way. When people call you slim, it's in a flattering way. Really hate the word skinny. I have been body shamed my whole entire life. Actually not so much, maybe like 20s onwards. I think skinny shaming became a huge thing when size 0 went so bad. I've never been a size 0. I'm size UK 6 naturally. My mum when my sister was pregnant, she got her birth chart out for us, and at 6 months pregnant she was 7.5 stone at 6 months pregnant, and we all turned out fabulous. We're just like me and my mum are just naturally very, very slim. I can eat what I want and I don't change, and actually I go to the gym and weight train and eat a lot to try and put on weight. So being called skinny all the time, and like, it's in a really patronizing way. There's nothing worse as a 30-year-old woman being talked to in a patronizing way by someone going, but do you even eat? And in my head I'm like, I can out eat anybody. And I don't know whether it's because I was so sporty growing up that I developed a really strong metabolism, as well as having a really slim parent that I've inherited it off. I don't know, but that's very wrong. I would like to put on weight. It's just really, I find it really difficult to put on weight. I know being in lockdown, I'm gonna lose weight. So I've been eating king-size bags of chocolate by the day, and I know that's really unhealthy, but especially when I was ill, I was like, I just need to keep my body fat so high because it drops off me and I don't know why. My battery just died if I moved a little bit. How much do you earn a month? I find this is, honestly, so many people ask me this, and I find it really bizarre because no one ever asks. It's considered quite rude to ask someone how much they earn, right, in any other industry, but apparently YouTubers, it's a free-for-all. I'm not going to tell you that. It really varies each month. Another question was an assumption that YouTubers don't earn much money, or being an influencer doesn't earn you much money. I'd say being a YouTuber is a very well paid job. It makes me laugh when I meet people. I was actually dating a guy not too long ago, and I was very aware I earned like double his salary, and he had a really good job. He told me what he earned. Men have a habit of doing that. I'm like, I don't need to know, honey. But I was very aware that I earned probably about double his salary, and he was like, yeah, but what are you gonna do, because this obviously can't last forever. And I was like, honey, shh. I think YouTube can last forever if you really want it. I mean, there's always going to be women the same age as you, so I don't think it has any cap on it. Also, it gives you the opportunity, once you have an audience, to create other things. Like maybe I want a fashion brand when I'm older, I already have an audience there who I market to. So what do I get paid a month? I'm not telling you, but it's better than I ever could have imagined. But I think it depends on the influencer. I think you have to be smart with it. I don't think every influencer earns a lot. I think if you're solely an Instagrammer, it's not as much as, like, I'm just basing this on my experience. I think YouTube really helps you earn a lot more, massively. I don't think if I was basing it on Instagram alone I'd be saying this. I think it's like your blog, your Instagram, or YouTube. I think you have to be smart as an influencer to make a lot of money, but the opportunity to earn a lot is definitely there. What does your tattoo mean? I don't know which one you're talking about. I have one on my neck and it says imagine, dream, believe in Hindi, and I have one on my arm which says love, laugh, live. I want this one, I want them both removed. I think I might get them removed. I just haven't got around to it. I forget they're there because they've been on my body for so long, but it's definitely something I got in my early 20s that I possibly wouldn't have got now. Who is the most famous person you've met, and did they live up to your assumptions about them? Madonna was pretty famous. Leonardo DiCaprio, I asked him what the weather was, how's the weather he was, honestly, Leonardo DiCaprio, I'm really sorry, Leo, if you ever happen to watch this, but he was so dull that when I was in work and I got up and as soon as my shift was over, it turned 2:30 and I was like, right, see you later. I was like so done talking to him. Great actor though, fantastic. Maybe he just wasn't interested in talking to me. Back in the day when I was 21, my old job used to let me meet a lot of people, and I've actually dated a lot of famous people. I don't know why, I think it's just the circles that I run in. Some of them very odd. What did you do before your employment on YouTube? So I I go on about this a lot. The one time I had that job for 4 months, I worked for a blogger company that like hooked up bloggers and brands together before it was like a big thing. So it was really at the start of this whole industry. And you know what, I knew I wanted to be a blogger, so I got a job on the inside of that industry, and I can't recommend that enough. If you want to do something, if you want to create some sort of business, like always get a job to know. Like I learned so much about the industry from that job. I could see what all the bloggers media kits were, the rates people were paying, what brands were charging, what I got such an insight into the industry that when I became a blogger myself, I knew how to handle myself really well. For instance, if you want to open a restaurant, go work as a waiter, because you'll get such a different level of understanding of a industry working on the bottom. I interned for Net-a-Porter, I interned for Closer magazine, I interned in the fashion industry a lot whilst I was at uni, and then I had that job for like 4 months working in the office. Then I worked for that job for a year working at home, which I coincided building my YouTube channel, and then I just YouTubed from then on. And prior to university I was a dancer. Dating, the good, the bad and the ugly. And I'm gonna finish on this note because by the looks of my inbox it was what everybody wanted to know. Dating, good dates, bad dates. Oh my god, I've been on some amazing dates this year. Amazing, like honestly, been treated so well. And then I've had other dates that have been like, you need to pay for half the Pizza Express. I like to like have a good cross section, you know, and then hopefully one will just rise to the top. What I've learned about dating, especially for me, is that to pick up the signs straight away. Like you can tell what someone is like from how they treat you at the beginning. I think no guy will ever change. Like what you have there at the beginning, if he doesn't text back straight away. I've had a guy recently that has planned to meet up with me. This was before lockdown, planned to meet up with me, and every time he's cancelled. And I was just like, do you know what, I'm gonna nip this in the bud right there, because that is what he will be like for the foreseeable future. It would drive me insane. He can be beautiful, he can be great, but actually that would drive me insane, so I'm gonna get rid straight away. And like, I find if they disrespect you, no matter how much they cry about it, what baffles me is when men ghost knock someone else and then cry about it. Genuine tears. And it's like, did you not think they somehow don't have the thought process that she's gonna be upset about that? And then I hate it when they come back and grovel and sad and upset and like emotionally drain me. And I like try and no matter how sorry a guy is, I feel like they're like dogs. You've got to train them. Like they'll never learn. Like just get rid. I've come to the age where I just don't want to be disrespected, because as a single woman I feel fantastic. I walk down the street with my head held high and I feel fantastic, and these men that I seem to end up with dating drag me down and like make me like they have one chance. If they screw it up, gone. The good. Oh, I had a good question. Tell us your worst experience with a guy. So I went on a few dates with this guy. He's a famous actor, and it really put me off dating. In fact, I've dated a lot of actors, and I think that's it for me. I can't do it anymore because they all kind of have the same streak in them. So I dated this guy and he was driving me home. We'd gone out for a date, we'd met up, and he was taking me home, what I thought was home, and then we ended up on the motorway, and I'm like, I live in London, why are we on the motorway? And it said like Windsor, and I was like, we're going to fucking Windsor, we're going to see the Queen. And then he shut his eyes on the motorway for a good solid minute, and I screamed the whole, I was so scared. I screamed solidly, and he was like getting off on the screaming, and it was just the weirdest experience. And then we headed all the way to Windsor. I got out at Windsor, slammed the door, and then got on the train back home, and I was like, what is this guy? what is this guy? Very strange. No one tries to kidnap me. Hell no. Someone asked what would my ex-boyfriends say about me, and I think I have a very fond place in my heart for many of my ex-boyfriends. Some of them I'm still very good friends with. One of them I'm very good friends with, and I actually sent him that, so we'll see what he says. I'll pop what he says here. Yeah, I have a very fond place in my heart for a lot of my ex-boyfriends. A lot of them I never want to see again. But I think the majority, I would hope that they'd all say good things about me. My battery is flashing, so I'm gonna have to love you and leave you here. I can't remember what I've talked about, so I hope that I spilled some tea. I don't know, but I hope you enjoyed it, and I think there's so many questions coming in, so if I have any more questions left over, I'll put it in my next vlog that I'm filming coinciding with this. So yeah, I love you and leave you, and I'll see you soon for another video. Bye, cheers.